And welcome to the Get Real Football Experts podcast. I'm your host, Louie DiBi at DB Sports Talk. Check me out on Twitter. Today it's another edition of the schedule rundowns we're having on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/NFL Experts to check out all of ours. This is wrapping up the NFC while we start off with the NFC West. Dave's doing the Seahawks and the Cardinals, and I'm doing the 49ers and the Rams. So we're going to start off with the 49ers today's schedule, a team that lost, came up 1 yard short of the Super Bowl. Could not get into the red zone against the Ravens in that Super Bowl. Colin Kaepernick came in to start for Alex Smith after a concussion and really just didn't look back. He was electric last year. One of the best defenses in the league. A memorable comeback in the NFC Championship game, down from 17 to win against the Falcons. And, I mean, this team is really packed at all positions. But then, obviously, in May, a big crushing blow to this team. Michael Crabtree has torn his Achilles tendon. He will probably be out for the majority of the season, probably coming back in December. So that's a big loss, and they got to step up here. Let's start off the season. So week 1, they are home against the Green Bay Packers, a team that they also opened up last year, and they did win this game, but I think this year they're going to lose it. I think they're going to start off 0-1. Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in the NFL, and that's just my personal opinion. I think it's a lot of people's opinions. But with James Jones, Randall Cobb, Jordy Nelson, and I think the difference making that's the reason they're going to win this game is because they drafted 2 stud young rookie running backs, and Eddie Lacy out of Alabama and Jonathan Franklin out of the UCLA college. So these 2 are very dynamic. One is very different than the other. Eddie Lacy's a ground and pound guy. Franklin has that ability, but he's also got the speed and the catching ability. And I really like that duo. I think that the 49ers are going to have a tough time with that balanced now attack of the Packers. And I think it's going to be a much improved defense. I think it's just going to come down to the quarterback play. And I think Aaron Rodgers knows he's got to beat this team if he wants to get to the Super Bowl. And I think he's got to start off good right now. And I think the 49ers are going to lose this game in a close one, though. It is at home in the new stadium, but I don't know. I think that the Packers will win this game, and they will start off. The 49ers will start off 0-1. So going into week 2, a really good stretch. I mean, this is a tough stretch. They have a tough schedule. They start at probably the hardest place to play in the NFL, the 12th man at the Seattle Seahawks. Probably a lot of people are saying that this is the greatest rivalry in the NFL right now. I agree, honestly. I think it's so dynamic with the 2 young quarterbacks in Colin Kaepernick and Russell Wilson. Not to mention that both have a great running attack with Frank Gore, Marshawn Lynch. Great defenses. I mean, these 2 teams are very similar, and this NFC West division is becoming probably one of the most, if not the most competitive division and the most powerful. I think the 49ers are going to win this game. I think this is really a test. Last year they went to Seattle, Week 16, got their butts whooped, absolutely destroyed by the Seattle Seahawks. I think they're going to come in here looking for something to prove, to show that they're still the top dog in this division. And I think the key to this victory is slowing down Marshawn Lynch. If you can stop him, the key is Justin Smith and Patrick Willis and Navarro Bowman stopping Marshawn Lynch, force Russell Wilson to throw the football, even though that's no problem for him. The 49ers secondary, I think, has vastly improved with the addition of Nnamdi Asomugha, who, I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan, had a very disappointing tenure in Philadelphia, but I still like that the 49ers win this game. I think they have to win this division, at least split with the Seahawks. And I think they're going to do that and go to 1-1. So going to week 3, they are home against an Indianapolis Colts team that's coming off of a wild card loss to the Super Bowl champion Baltimore Ravens. Second-year quarterback, first overall pick last year, Andrew Luck, is coming off one of the best rookie years of all time. I think the 49ers are still going to win this based on one thing, and I think the Colts are not as deep as many of the young quarterbacks' defenses and offensive lines are. The Colts' offensive line's a mess. I think Aldon Smith's going to have a career day here. With Vic Ballard and Ahmad Bradshaw, it's not a very dynamic run duo, but it's solid. I think the 49ers are really attack Andrew Luck with the blitzes. Patrick Willis and Navarro Bowman will shore up the middle. I just think that this is going to be an easy win based on, I just don't think the Colts defense has enough to stop Colin Kaepernick in that read option. It's going to be fun to watch some of these young quarterbacks go at it. Obviously, week 2, you got Russell Wilson versus Kaepernick. Now here, Andrew Luck versus Kaepernick. Just really deciding who's going to be the top young guy. I'm really interested to see who's going to emerge. Christian Ponder? Blaine Gabbert? No, none of those guys? Maybe not. I probably wouldn't say so myself. So I think that the Colts are going to lose this game. I think the 49ers are going to take it. They got to get the wins against the weaker teams. I don't know. There's just something about the Colts that I don't like this year. I think that they're going to have a decrease in wins. And let's go to Week 4 now, where the San Francisco 49ers take on A division opponent that gave them a really hard time last year. In the St. Louis Rams, they got some really good pieces. Sam Bradford, a quarterback. Tavon Austin, the first-round pick. Out of West Virginia, a dynamic receiver. They lost Steven Jackson, but they got a young guy in Darryl Richardson they really like. And the thing that I really like about the Rams is their defense, because Janoris Jenkins and Cortland Finnegan are two really good cornerbacks. They got some good safeties. I like the transition of TJ McDonald, the drafting of him from USC. I think that gives some toughness to the secondary. And then linebackers, I really like. So, I mean, I like Alec Ogletree. I think he's just dominant. And then obviously the pass rush with Brady. Not Brady Quinn. Obviously Chris Long, I think, is going to be dominant. So I think this one's going to be a win, though, for the 49ers. I think, again, this division is stacked, but I like this win to be the 49ers. The 49ers tied and lost to the Rams last year. That's right, tie. I really think that they should probably get rid of ties in the NFL, don't you think? Because, I don't know, I think it's kind of outdated, ties are. But I think they're going to win this game. And I think the defensive tackle is very weak. Is a very weak position for the Rams. I mean, Michael Brockers, I think, is going to develop into a fine player. But as of right now, I think the Frank Gore and Colin Kaepernick ability is going to really attack that defensive line. And I think another key for the 49ers is, quite frankly, pass rushing. If Aldon Smith and Justin Smith can get there, I really like this win, because the Rams' offensive line is very weak, and I think they know that, and they haven't really made any moves to, shore up the offensive line. I mean, you've looked at the recent picks they've had. They had the second overall pick. They moved all the way back to 16th to take Michael Brockers, and then this year they took a receiver, which is obviously, but you got to start piling up those linemen. Linemen's key in the NFL, and I think the 49ers are going to win this one. I really like Kaepernick and Anquan Boldin, the guy that this is going to be a fun matchup to watch. Cortland Finnegan versus Boldin, two aggressive players going at it. I think that's going to be fun to watch. I think that's the key matchup that's going to be really interesting to watch at. And I think Chris Long's going to have a tough time with that read option. I really like the read option to continue to succeed this year. So I think the 49ers are going to win this game and improve to 3-1. Going to Week 5, another really fun game to watch, I'm sure, between two playoff opponents. It's home against the Houston Texans, a team that last year defeated the Cincinnati Bengals in the wild card. But, they did not show up against the New England Patriots in that divisional round. They had the Defensive Player of the Year, J.J. Watt, coming strong, Arian Foster, Andre Johnson, and a key first-round pick, DeAndre Hopkins, receiver out of Clemson. I like the 49ers, not in this game. I think the Texans are going to win this game. I don't know. I just think that the 49ers are really going to have a tough time against this defense that just is looking electric. Jonathan Joseph is a very good cornerback. Brian Cushing's coming back off that ACL tear. I think that's going to be a key addition back for the Houston Texans. I think it's good. What you're going to really look to see in this game is the battle of the running backs. This is going to be fun. Two of the best defensive lines going against two of the best running backs. You got Arian Foster and Frank Gore. That's going to be fun. Justin Smith versus Foster, and then you got Frank Gore versus J.J. Watt. I mean, that's pretty cool. I really like it. I think it's going to be a loss for the 49ers, who will drop to 3-2. It's going to be a close one, but I think it's going to come down to which defense can make a last-second stop, because both teams are very well balanced and are very similar, and I think are ready to make a Super Bowl run. So going to Week 6, they're home against a division rival, the Arizona Cardinals. Some of the people say is the worst team in this division. I'm not so sure about that yet. I think the 49ers are going to win this game and improve to 4-2. The addition of Carson Palmer obviously is going to help Larry Fitzgerald, who is one of the best receivers in the league. But my personal opinion on this is really the running back position for the Cardinals. I'm not really liking it with Rashard Mendenhall there and Andre Ellington. I mean, Stephon Taylor, Ryan Williams. It's a loaded backfield, but none of them other than Mendenhall is really a proven consistent back. I think the 49ers defense is going to really go after Palmer in that passing attack, because they don't really have to worry about the run game as much. And that's why I like the 49ers to win this game and improve on 4-2. For the Cardinals to win the division, by the way, I just think they're going to have to sweep in the division because it's so loaded. So going to Week 7, they're away against the Tennessee Titans, a team that has their own young quarterback out of Washington, Jake Locker, who was the 8th overall pick 2 years ago. Second quarterback taken after Cam Newton from the Panthers. They also have Chris Johnson, this year making some key acquisitions on the offensive line to help CJ2K. They signed Andy Levitre from the Buffalo Bills and also drafted Chance Warmack with the 10th overall pick out of Alabama. But I don't think that they're ready to beat a 49ers team like this that's ready for a Super Bowl run. The defense is very iffy on the Titans' part. I don't know. They didn't really make a lot of acquisitions for that. They did shore up the secondary, getting George Wilson, who I really like, and Bernard Pollard, two really good safeties. But I just don't think it's enough to stop the 49ers. I think the run game is really going to attack that weak line. And I think the Titans have a long way to go. They could be a playoff contender maybe next year. I think this year they're still a 6-10, 7-9 team. And I think based off the 49ers are just a better overall team this year, and I think they're going to win at 5-2. But don't be surprised if Jake Locker impresses this year. But versus Colin Kaepernick, two really mobile guys, but I like Kaepernick to win this one. Attack those corners, get Anquan Boldin going. Also, the key for some of these games with some good secondaries is to make sure that Quentin Patton, A.J. Jenkins really comes up strong for the 49ers because they really need one of those guys to contribute with the loss of Michael Crabtree. So they're going to go into the Week 8 against the Jacksonville Jaguars at a record of 5-2. The Jacksonville Jaguars are the second overall pick this year, taking Luke Joeckel out of Texas A&M, a very rising college. But they have way too many holes to beat the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers will go 6-2 heading into their bye week in Week 9. They will be 6-2. But going back to the Jaguars, other than Maurice Jones-Drew, Blaine Gabbert versus Chad Henne's probably the worst quarterback battle of the year. I mean, Justin Blackmon has a 4-game suspension. Cecil Shorts is a very productive guy, but that defense, they got some young guys, obviously. But the guy I really want to watch is Denard Robinson, who is listed as an offensive weapon. So, I mean, I don't know. That's pretty funny to see. That's pretty unique. But I think that the 49ers are just, I mean, it's at Jacksonville, but I don't really think that's going to help. There's not a big fan base in Jacksonville. Even though last year's schedule rundown we did the Jaguars, we got a boatload of comments out. They did not like our 2-14 record prediction. Well, we were right. But I think the 49ers are going to win this. They're a better team. I think that's obvious. So Week 10, they're home against the Carolina Panthers. Cam Newton, Steve Smith, and those guys, they're coming in looking to prove that they can be an offensive powerhouse and a playoff contending team. I think the 49ers are going to win this. Cam Newton versus Kaepernick, two guys that were drafted in the same year. Cam, obviously, first overall out of Auburn, and then the second round, Kaepernick went to the 49ers. He was out of Nevada. It's going to be fun to watch these read option quarterbacks go after it. I think it's going to be really fun. It's going to be a high-scoring game. But what it comes down to is Cam Newton doesn't have enough weapons. Colin Kaepernick, I think, is just going to outshoot him. And with, obviously, Steve Smith's a veteran, probably the best Carolina Panther in all time. But Brandon LaFell isn't a proven commodity for the Panthers. And Greg Olson's a proven veteran, though. I think he's really productive, but I just don't think that's going to be enough. Some of the keys for other teams against the 49ers to attack the secondary, which some people say are weak. They drafted Eric Reed in the first round out of LSU as safety to replace Deshaun Goldson, who's off to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers now to start. And obviously you have Dante Whitner, who's a tackling machine. But then in the second corners, you got some iffies. Carlos Rogers didn't have as well of a year last year as he did 2 years ago, where he was very productive. They got Nnamdi Asomugha, but we don't know where he's going. I mean, it looks like he's going downhill from where he was in Oakland to now what he did in Philly. And then Culliver, I think, is a very productive guy, but you're not running the ball, and you're not running over 130 yards on this 49ers defensive line or getting by Patrick Wilson or Bowman. Their weak spot, even though it's not really that much of a weak spot, is their secondary. But I think the 49ers are going to win against the Panthers, and they'll improve to 7-2. And they're going to need these wins because Week 11, here we go, at the Superdome against the New Orleans Saints. Drew Brees in town, Darren Sproles, Marquise Colston, Jimmy Graham, who, by the way, didn't make the NFL's top 100. What's that all about? I don't know if you watch that show, but I do, and it's very frustrating to watch. But I think that the 49ers are going to lose this game, and they will drop to 7-3. And my reasoning for this one is I think it's the quarterback play. It's a hostile environment. The Saints are really in a competitive division. They know they got to rack up some of these wins against really good teams. I think it's going to be a high-scoring battle. I like the Saints doing this, and the 49ers will drop to 7-3. Probably the key matchup here I would like to see, honestly, in my opinion, I mean, the Saints' defense is not that great. I mean, they have a lot of holes in there. They got Kenny Vaccaro, the first-round pick, strong safety out of Texas. I think the key, honestly, is Jimmy Graham versus Patrick Willis. That's going to be a fun matchup to watch. And they might eventually put Navarro Bowman at him because he's got more speed than Willis. But that's going to be fun to watch. Those two linebackers going at it with the best tight end in the NFL, arguably, because obviously people like Gronk as well. And I won't comment on the Aaron Hernandez thing for now. It's not my business, just because I span off on the talking about Gronkowski, but that's a tough situation, just panning off the 49ers real quick, that it's unfortunate, and it stinks for your fantasy teams, and I'm just going to say that now just to kind of give it a enlightened spin. So So we're going to go to week 12 now, where they're away against the Washington Redskins. Robert Griffin III, Offensive Rookie of the Year. Alfred Morris, over 1,600 yards last year and double-digit touchdowns. They won the NFC East to lose to the 49ers division opponent, the Seahawks, in the first round. RG3 tore his ACL. He'll definitely be here healthy, hopefully, if he doesn't get injured again, because... And let's go into it. I think that the 49ers are going to win this and go to 8-3. And RG3 versus Kaepernick. I mean, look at this. I mean, the Kaepernick faces Andrew Luck, Russell Wilson, Jake Locker, Cam Newton, RG3, and I mean, the young quarterbacks are going to be dueling this year, and it's going to be fun to watch. I think that the 49ers are going to win this. That defense for the Redskins is really weak. That secondary, Cedric Griffin's coming off an injury. Not Dobson. They got some key secondary acquisitions in the draft. London Fletcher still there, but I think the key to this one is London Fletcher versus Frank Gore, and also Alden Smith versus RG3. I mean, the defense has got to solve this. They got to be able to stop this read option, or at least contain it. And I think, I mean, they're both. I think RG3 is better at it than Kaepernick, but I think the 49ers are going to win this because I don't think the Redskins have enough to make a defensive stop when it counts against the 49ers like the 49ers do against the Redskins. 49ers have Pro Bowl players at every defensive position. I think they're going to win this one. It's going to be a close game. Don't count out the Redskins. And it is later in the year, so it's going to be harder to predict because obviously injuries occur and all this stuff. But hey, we do it for you guys. It's NFL time, and here we go. Chicago Blackhawks winning the Stanley Cup. Heat winning the NBA championship. It's NFL time, baby. Can't wait. I've been waiting since February for this. So let's go to week 13, where they're home against the St. Louis Rams, a team that, again, gave the 49ers some hardships. This is the second matchup for the season. I think they're going to lose this one. I think the Rams are going to split. They really attacked Kaepernick last year. They were the only team that really I saw that just attacked him and really exposed him. And I think the Rams are going to do that again. The 49ers will drop to 8-4. The key for this, though, is Sam Bradford's got to put points on the board. And this is the no-excuse year for Sam Bradford. And I think the 49ers are going to drop this game going into Week 14. It's a big one. Home against the Seattle Seahawks, and this might come down to really the deciding factor on who wins the division. Honestly, I mean, some people say the Seattle Seahawks are Super Bowl contenders. I don't know if they're there yet. I think they still got a couple more pieces they need to put in place, get some people back from suspensions and injuries. Chris Clemens tore his ACL in the wild card. I don't think people remember that because of what happened with RG3. So I'm going to give this one a loss for the 49ers, and they'll drop to 8-5. They're going to split with the Seahawks. I think that's going to happen, but ironically, both teams lose on their home floor, so they're going to drop to 8-5. It's going to be, I don't know if it's going to be high scoring because both defenses are really good, but both offenses are electric. The Seahawks brought in Percy Harvin along with Sidney Rice and Golden Tate, so they have some weapons that the 49ers are really going to have to stop. This is when the secondary is really key, and I know the Seahawks are going to attack that secondary. Like I said before, it is the 49ers' weak link on that defense. So let's go to Week 15, where they're away at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a team that has Greg Schiano under second year as head coach. Josh Freeman really playing for, I think, his starting spot because they drafted Mike Glennon in the third round, who's out of North Carolina State. I mean, defensively, they're pretty good. They have Gerald McCoy at the defensive tackle position. They made a pretty big splash getting one of the best defensive players in the league in Darrelle Revis. And for that secondary, also picking up the 49ers' own Deshaun Goldson, who's going to play against his former team here. Mark Barron, the first-round pick last year out of Alabama. So, Ronnie Barber retiring, by the way, great player. Respect to him. I think the 49ers are going to win this, and I think it's that offense for the Buccaneers. They have Doug Martin, obviously, and Vincent Jackson. It's going to be an offensive battle, I think. I think it's going to be higher scoring than you think. But the 49ers know they have to win these last couple games if they want to have a shot at getting a first-round bye and a division spot. So, I don't think they're at risk of missing the playoffs, unless my Eagles want to swoop in and steal a spot. So, they'll improve to 9-5 going into Week 16, where they're home against the Atlanta Falcons, a team that they beat in the NFC Championship game after being down by 17. The Falcons, they're going to have something to prove here. You know and we know it. But I think the 49ers are going to win this game, and the Falcons really want it because they were up by 17 in the second quarter last year. and it came down to one last stop by Navarro Bowman to end that game. 49ers have some 49ers and Falcons are really both loaded teams. Falcons have some key players. They brought in Steven Jackson, the veteran from the St. Louis Rams, to now be their starting running back. Michael Turner's out, Jackson's in. Julio Jones, Roddy White, Tony Gonzalez. You know all the weapons there. But it's that secondary that I think the 49ers are going to have to attack. Anquan Bolden's going to be going against Asante Samuel or Desmond Trufant, who's the first-round pick out of Washington, 30th pick in the draft. No, actually, they moved up, I believe, to like 28. 29, I'm sorry, to the New England Patriots. I think the 49ers are going to win this, though, because, look at that defense. Look at the Falcons' defense. I think that it's going to be tough to stop this dynamic running plus off passing attack. Key for this is Sean Witherspoon versus Vernon Davis. Vernon Davis is definitely going to have to carry the load with Bolden now that Michael Crabtree's down. They still have weapons on the team. Gore can catch out of the backfield as well. LaMichael James is a sleeper guy for a breakout year. So I think they're going to go into Week 17 at 10-5. Here we go. At the Arizona Cardinals. Carson Palmer in town. They're going to the University of Phoenix Stadium, where they're going to be, who's, by the way, holding the Super Bowl in 2 years. So, this is it. Do they go 10-6 or 11-5? This could decide the division. This could decide first-round buys. I think they're going to win this one. I think they know that they're a better team than the Cardinals, and the Cardinals could compete for a wild card spot or be a competitive team. I just don't think it's going to be enough. 49ers know what's at stake. Jim Harbaugh is a leader of men. He knows what he's going to have to do here. I think he's going to do it. Joe Staley is going to have his hands full against Darnell Dockett and Calais Campbell. Very underrated defense, but I think they're going to do it, improve to 11-5. Dave had the Seahawks at 11-5, so I think it comes down to tiebreakers. Right here, they split, so I think both are playoff teams, obviously, so you'll see those in our playoff preview video, playoff predictions after the schedule rundowns. So that's going to do it. Thanks for joining me here on Get Real Football Experts podcast, schedule rundown edition. It's been great. Please comment, rate, subscribe on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/NFL Experts. Follow me at DB Sports Talk and my great host, at my great partner in crime, at Dave Crest Sports, Dave Crescenti, for all your Bills updates, fantasy, and more. Me, I'll be an Eagles guy and a fantasy guy. You can find my articles at dbsportstalk.blogspot.com. That's my Eagles blog, and also dbsportstalkfantasy.blogspot.com for fantasy articles. Or check me and Dave out at getrealfootball.com. You can see our podcast on YouTube or on getrealfootball.com. On the side, it'll say The Football Experts. That's us. And that's pretty much it. Thanks, football fans. It's been real.